Welcome to Coins News Daily. What if I told you, a simple $1 coin in your pocket could be worth thousands? Most people ignore these coins, but collectors are secretly paying huge money for them. Don't spend it before you watch this. Stay tuned, because one small mistake could cost you a fortune. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Subscribe now and turn your spare coins into big money. Thanks with love for watching. Top 1. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins in American history, a coin that many people have seen, many have ignored, and a few lucky collectors have turned into real money. Stay with me, because what looks like an ordinary dollar could actually be a hidden treasure sitting in a drawer, a jar, or even your pocket change. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to look for and why this coin has captured the attention of collectors around the world. The story begins in 1979, when the United States introduced a brand new dollar coin honoring Susan B. Anthony, a pioneer for women's rights. It was a historic moment because this was the first time a real woman, not a symbolic figure, appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. But despite its historical importance, the coin was not an instant success. In fact, most people didn't like it at all. It was often confused with a quarter because of its similar size and color, and that confusion led to the coin being quickly rejected in everyday transactions. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Because so many people ignored or disliked the coin, very few paid attention to the small details that today make certain versions extremely valuable. Among all of these coins, the 1979 P Mint Mark Susan B. Anthony dollar holds a special place, especially when you know what to look for. The P Mint mark tells us the coin was produced in Philadelphia. At first glance, these coins seem very common. Millions were made, and many still exist today. But not all of them are the same. There are subtle differences, tiny design variations, and rare errors that can turn an ordinary-looking coin into something collectors are willing to pay serious money for. One of the most talked-about features is the date style. If you look closely at the 1979 coins, you will notice that the numbers in the date can appear slightly different depending on the version. Collectors often refer to these as wide rim and narrow rim varieties. The wide rim version has the date positioned closer to the edge of the coin, making the border appear thicker. This small difference might seem unimportant, but in the world of coin collecting, tiny details like this can make a huge impact on value. The wide rim variety is much harder to find compared to the narrow rim version. That rarity is what drives collectors to search through rolls of coins, estate collections, and even old piggy banks, hoping to discover one of these hidden gems. Imagine finding a coin that most people overlook, only to realize it's actually worth far more than its face value. But the story doesn't end there. Error coins take this to a whole new level. During the minting process, mistakes can happen. These mistakes are not supposed to occur, which is exactly why collectors love them. Errors can include off-center strikes, double strikes, or even doubling in the design, where certain features appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during production. One particularly exciting type of error is the double die. This happens when the coin die itself is engraved more than once, slightly offset, creating a visible doubling effect on the final coin. If you look closely at the lettering or the date and notice this effect, you might be holding something very special. Another thing to pay attention to is the overall condition of the coin. Even a common coin can become valuable if it is in exceptional condition. Coins that have never been circulated, meaning they were never used in everyday transactions, are known as uncirculated coins. These coins often have a bright, original shine and very minimal marks. The higher the grade, the more collectors are willing to pay. Now think about this. Millions of these coins were made, but how many have survived in perfect condition? Not many. Over time, coins get scratched, worn down, and lose their original luster. That's why high-grade examples are so desirable. Collectors also look for coins with strong details, clean surfaces, and sharp strikes. Even the smallest imperfection can affect the value, which is why grading plays such an important role in determining how much a coin is worth. Let's take a moment to imagine the journey of one of these coins. It leaves the mint in 1979, enters circulation, passes through countless hands, maybe sits in a cash register, gets dropped, scratched, and eventually forgotten. Now imagine another coin from the same batch that was carefully stored away, untouched, preserved in its original condition. Decades later, that preserved coin becomes a prized collectible while the worn coin remains just $1. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's like a treasure hunt hidden in plain sight. You never know what you might find until you start looking closely, and here's something even more fascinating. Some collectors specialize only in Susan B. Anthony dollars. They study every detail, every variation, every known error. For them, finding a rare 1979p coin is not just about money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the history behind the coin, and the satisfaction of adding something unique to their collection. If you're new to coin collecting, this is a perfect place to start. The coins are still relatively accessible, and with a bit of knowledge, you can learn to identify the features that matter most. Always check the date, examine the rim, look for errors, and pay attention to the overall condition, and remember, patience is key. Rare coins are not always easy to find, but that's what makes them so rewarding when you do. Now let's talk about what everyone is really curious about, the value. A standard 1979p Susan B. Anthony dollar in circulated condition is usually worth around $1, sometimes slightly more depending on demand. However, the wide rim variety in good condition can sell for several dollars and higher depending on its grade. When you move into uncirculated coins, the value increases significantly. High-grade examples can reach into tens or even hundreds of dollars. And when it comes to rare error coins or exceptionally preserved specimens, the prices can climb even higher. At auctions, some of the finest known examples of the 1979p wide rim Susan B. Anthony dollar have reached values of several hundred to over $1,000, depending on condition and rarity. So the next time you come across a Susan B. Anthony dollar, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. That small, overlooked coin might just have a story to tell and value waiting to be discovered. Top 2. We are diving into one of the most fascinating modern coins in American history, a coin that many people have seen, touched, or even spent without realizing its true potential value. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you might start checking your own pocket change in a completely different way. The Sacagawea $1 coin, especially the 2010 D mint mark version, is not just another golden-colored coin. It represents history, artistry, and in some rare cases, serious money. But what makes this particular coin so interesting is not just its design, it's the hidden rarity, minting quirks, and collector demand that can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a highly valuable treasure. Let's begin with the basics. The 2010 Sacagawea Dollar coin, also known as the Native American Dollar series, was minted to honor Native American contributions to the United States. The obverse features the iconic image of Sacagawea carrying her infant son, a design that has remained consistent since the series began. But every year, the reverse design changes to highlight different aspects of Native American history and culture. In 2010, the reverse design featured the Great Tree of Peace, symbolizing unity among the Iroquois Confederacy. This design alone makes the coin special, but the real story begins when we talk about how these coins were made and how few of them truly stand out. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Millions of these coins were struck, so at first glance, you might think there's nothing rare about them. But this is where collectors pay very close attention. Not all coins are created equal, even within the same year and mint condition plays a massive role. Coins that were never circulated, meaning they were never used in everyday transactions, are much more valuable. These are often referred to as mint state coins. A pristine 2010 D Sacagawea dollar with sharp details, no scratches, and original luster can already command a premium compared to a worn coin. But now comes the exciting part that coin collectors love the most: errors and varieties. Minting errors are like accidental masterpieces. They occur during the production process and are usually caught and destroyed. But sometimes, a few slip through and enter circulation. These are the coins that can skyrocket in value. For the 2010 D Sacagawea dollar, collectors have reported several types of errors. One of the most talked about is the double die error. This happens when the coin's design is struck more than once but slightly misaligned, creating a visible doubling effect on letters or design elements. If you notice doubling on inscriptions or details, you could be holding something special. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. There are also die cracks and die chips, which might look like small raised lines or bumps on the coin. While minor ones are common, more prominent and unusual patterns can attract collectors and increase value. Then there are satin finish and special strike coins. Some Sacagawea dollars were produced specifically for collectors with a different finish compared to regular circulation coins. These have a smoother, more refined appearance and are often mistaken for ordinary coins by those who are not familiar with them. Another factor that adds to the value is scarcity in high grades. Even though millions were minted, finding one in perfect condition is extremely difficult. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services are rare and highly sought after. Now imagine this. A coin that looks almost identical to the one you might have seen before, but because of a tiny minting error or because it has been preserved in flawless condition, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of times its face value. That is the magic of coin collecting. Collectors are always hunting for these hidden gems. They examine every detail under magnification, looking for something unique. And the thrill of discovering a rare coin in circulation is unmatched. The 2010 Sacagawea dollar also has a unique appeal because it belongs to a modern series. Unlike ancient or very old coins, these are still relatively accessible. This means new collectors can join the hobby without needing a massive budget, while still having the chance to find something incredibly valuable. But here is something very important. Not every 2010 Sacagawea coin is valuable. Most are worth only their face value or slightly more. The real value comes from rarity, condition, and errors. That is why knowledge is your most powerful tool. The more you understand what to look for, the better your chances of finding something extraordinary. So next time you come across a golden dollar coin, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Check the mint mark. Observe the details. Look for anything unusual. Because you never know, that small coin could hold a big surprise. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the real market value and auction prices. A regular circulated 2010 Sacagawea $1 coin is typically worth $1 to $3. An uncirculated high-quality example can range from $5 to $15 depending on condition. Coins with strong mint state grades can reach $20 to $50. Error coins such as double die or off-center strikes can sell for $100 to $500 depending on severity and visibility. Highly rare and perfectly graded examples or significant error coins have reached auction values of $1,000 to $3,000 or more, and that is why this coin continues to capture the attention of collectors around the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden value of everyday coins, make sure to keep watching, because there are many more treasures out there waiting to be discovered. Top 3. We are diving into a coin that might be sitting quietly in a drawer, a jar, or even pass through your hands without a second thought, but for collectors, it holds a story, a mystery, and in some cases, surprising value. We're talking about the 1986 D. Kennedy half dollar, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, yet carries layers of history, rarity, and hidden potential that can truly excite any coin lover. The Kennedy half dollar series itself began in 1964, created to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. From the very beginning, these coins captured the attention of the public, not just for their design, but for their emotional significance. Over time, the composition changed, the circulation declined, and by the 1980s, the half dollar had quietly become more of a collector's item than a coin used in everyday transactions. Now let's focus on 1986, specifically the Denver Mint version marked with a small d mint mark. At first, many people assume coins from the 1980s are too modern to hold significant value. That assumption is exactly why some of these coins go unnoticed. and sometimes undervalued. In 1986, the United States Mint produced Kennedy half-dollars primarily for collectors rather than for wide circulation. This means that while millions were struck, relatively few actually entered daily use. Many were stored away in mint sets, untouched and preserved. That might sound like it would make them common, but here's where things get interesting: condition is everything in coin collecting. A heavily circulated 1986 D half-dollar is usually only worth face value. But coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those with sharp details, strong luster, and no visible wear, can be worth significantly more. Now imagine taking that a step further. Among these coins, a very small number exist in what collectors call high-grade condition, often graded by professional services. These are coins that look almost perfect, with mirror-like surfaces, flawless details, and exceptional eye appeal. These are the coins that collectors compete for, but rarity is not just about condition. Errors and varieties play a huge role in increasing a coin's value and desirability. And yes, even the 1986 D Kennedy half-dollar has its share of fascinating errors. One of the most exciting types of errors is the double die error. This happens when the coin's design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles, causing a visible doubling effect. On a Kennedy half-dollar, this can sometimes be seen in the lettering, the date, or even parts of Kennedy's profile. These errors are rare and highly sought after because they are mistakes that slip through the minting process. Another type of error that collectors look for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. There are also clipped planchets, where part of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error during production. These coins have a unique, curved bite taken out of them and are instantly recognizable. Then we have die cracks and die breaks. These are imperfections caused by worn or damaged dies used to strike the coins. While small cracks might not add much value, larger and more dramatic breaks can make a coin stand out and attract collectors. Another fascinating possibility is the existence of coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a Kennedy half-dollar accidentally struck on a smaller coin blank. The result is a rare and unusual piece that collectors would eagerly pursue. Even something as subtle as toning can impact value. Over time, coins can develop natural color patterns due to exposure to air and storage conditions. Some collectors love beautifully toned coins, especially when the colors are vibrant and evenly distributed. So what makes the 1986 D Kennedy half-dollar truly interesting is this combination of factors. On one hand, it is a modern coin that many people overlook. On the other hand, it offers opportunities for discovery, whether it's finding a high-grade specimen, spotting a rare error, or simply appreciating the craftsmanship and history behind it. For collectors, the thrill is in the hunt. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can surprise you the most. That's why it's always worth taking a closer look at your change, your old collections, or even coins passed down through family. Now let's talk about value, the part everyone is curious about. A standard 1986 D Kennedy half-dollar in circulated condition is typically worth face value, which is 50 cents. However, an uncirculated example can range from a few dollars depending on its quality. When we move into higher grades, especially coins graded at the top levels, the value can increase significantly. Coins in near-perfect condition have sold for around $100 to $200, depending on demand, and I appeal that if you are lucky enough to find a coin with a notable mint error, the value can climb even higher. Depending on the type and visibility of the error, such coins can sell for several $100s or more. At auction, exceptional high-grade examples or rare error varieties of the 1986 D Kennedy half-dollar have reached prices in the range of $300 to over $1,000. Especially when multiple collectors compete for a standout piece. So the next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar, don't ignore it. Take a moment, look closely, and imagine the journey that coin has taken. Because hidden within that simple piece of metal could be a story, a rarity, and maybe even a small treasure waiting to be discovered. Top 4. We are diving into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked treasures in American coin history, the 1977 Eisenhower $1 coin. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, something you might pass by without a second thought. But hidden beneath its bold design and heavy feel lies a story of history, rarity, and in some cases, surprising value that can reach far beyond its face value of just $1. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might look at your own coins in a completely different way. The Eisenhower dollar, often called the Ike dollar by collectors, was introduced in 1971 to honor President Dwight D. Eisenhower and also to commemorate the Apollo 11 moon landing. This coin carries a strong sense of American pride. On the front, you'll find the powerful portrait of Eisenhower himself, while the reverse design shows an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch, symbolizing peace achieved through strength. Now let's focus on the star of today's video, the 1977 D mint mark Eisenhower dollar. The letter D indicates that this coin was minted in Denver, one of the major United States mint facilities. In 1977, millions of these coins were produced, which might make you think they are all common and not worth much. But here's where things get interesting. Not all coins are created equal. Even within a large mintage, certain coins stand out because of their condition, their rarity in high grades, and most importantly, the errors and unique characteristics that make collectors go crazy. Let's talk about condition first. Most 1977 D Eisenhower dollars you'll find today have been circulated. That means they've been used in everyday transactions, leading to scratches, worn edges, and dull surfaces. These coins are usually only worth their face value or slightly more, but when you come across a coin that is in uncirculated condition, something that looks almost as if it just left the mint, the value starts to climb. Collectors are always hunting for coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and strong luster. A high-grade 1977 D Eisenhower dollar can already be significantly more valuable than a worn one. Now let's move into the real excitement. The error coins are where the magic happens in the world of coin collecting. These are coins that were struck incorrectly during the minting process, making them rare and highly desirable. One of the most talked about errors for the 1977 D Eisenhower dollar is the double die error. This happens when the coin design is accidentally impressed twice at slightly different angles, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or the image. If you look closely at the words on the coin or Eisenhower's features and see a shadow-like doubling, you might be holding something very special. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a blank crescent-shaped area. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can be. Then we have clipped planchets. This is when a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a mistake during the cutting process of the metal blanks. These coins have a very distinctive look and are highly collectible. There are also die cracks and cuts, which appear as raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin. These happen when the minting dies begin to wear out or crack, and they can add uniqueness to each coin. But here's something many people don't realize. Even without dramatic errors, some 1977 D Eisenhower dollars are rare simply because of how well they were preserved. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services are extremely difficult to find. These top-condition coins are often locked away in collections, making them scarce in the market. Collectors love rarity, but they also love stories. And the Eisenhower dollar tells a story of a changing America in the 1970s, a time when the country was transitioning away from large dollar coins towards smaller currency. Because of this, many of these coins were not widely used, and some remained in storage for decades. Now imagine this. A coin sitting untouched for years, protected from wear, holding on to its original shine. When discovered today, it becomes a time capsule. A piece of history frozen in perfect condition. That's the kind of coin collectors dream about. If you're searching for a valuable 1977 D Eisenhower dollar, here's what you should do. Look closely at the details. Check the edges, the lettering, and the overall surface. Use a magnifying glass if you can. Pay attention to anything unusual, doubling, missing parts, or strange marks that don't look like normal wear. Also, consider having your coin graded by a professional service. This can authenticate its condition and any errors, which can significantly increase its value in the eyes of collectors. And now comes the part everyone has been waiting for, the value. A typical circulated 1977 Eisenhower dollar is usually worth around $1 to $3 depending on condition. Uncirculated examples can range from $10 to $50. However, coins in extremely high grades can reach several $100s. Error coins are where the real excitement lies. Depending on the type and visibility of the error, a 1977 Eisenhower dollar with a strong double die or major off-center strike can sell for hundreds to even thousands of dollars. At major auctions, rare high-grade examples and error varieties have been known to reach prices of several $1,000s, especially when demand among collectors is high. So the next time you come across an Eisenhower dollar, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Because hidden in plain sight, you might just discover a small piece of metal that carries not only history, but incredible value, and who knows, that simple $1 coin could turn out to be a rare treasure worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 5. We are diving into a coin that many people have seen, touched, and probably spent without a second thought, yet hidden among these everyday pieces of change could be something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might start looking at your pocket change very differently. We're talking about the 2008 Roosevelt Dime, a small, silver-colored coin that carries decades of history, subtle design details, and in rare cases, surprising value that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. At first glance, the 2008 dime looks completely ordinary. It features the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front, a design that has been in use since 1946. The D mint mark on this coin tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for producing circulating coins in the United States. Millions upon millions of these dimes were produced in 2008. In fact, the total mintage was in the hundreds of millions, which means most examples you'll find are only worth their face value of 10 cents. That's exactly why this coin is so fascinating, because despite its common appearance, certain rare varieties and errors can transform this everyday coin into something collectors dream about. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Coin collectors don't just look at age or quantity. They look at condition, minting quality, and most importantly, errors. Errors are what turn ordinary coins into rare treasures. And yes, even a modern coin like the 2008 Roosevelt Dime can have errors that dramatically increase its value. One of the most sought-after features in coins like this is a double die error. This happens during the minting process when the design is impressed onto the die more than once at slightly different angles. If you look closely under magnification, you might see doubling in the lettering, especially in areas like the word Liberty or In God We Trust. On a rare 2008 dime, this kind of doubling can make the coin extremely desirable. Another fascinating error to look for is off-center striking. Imagine a coin that wasn't properly aligned when it was struck. Part of the design may be missing, shifted, or incomplete. These coins immediately stand out because they look unusual, and collectors love unusual. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable the coin can be. Then there are clipped planchets. This occurs when the metal blank used to make the coin is improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight bite missing from the edge. It's a mistake that happens before the coin is even struck, and when it does, it creates a completely unique piece. But we're not done yet. Another rare and valuable type of error is the die crack or die break. Over time, the dies used to strike coins begin to wear out and crack under pressure. When this happens, raised lines or unusual shapes can appear on the coin's surface. Some collectors specifically seek out these imperfections because they tell a story of the minting process. And let's talk about condition, because condition can make a huge difference even without errors. A 2008 Roosevelt Dime in average circulated condition is still just worth face value. But if you happen to find one in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used in everyday transactions, its value increases. These coins often retain their original mint luster, a shiny, almost glowing surface that collectors love. Even more valuable are coins graded at the highest levels, such as MS-67 or MS-68. These are coins that are nearly flawless, with sharp details, no visible wear, and exceptional eye appeal. Finding a coin like this in circulation is incredibly rare, but it does happen. Now imagine combining both factors, a high-grade coin with a mint error. That's where things get truly exciting. Collectors are always searching for coins that are unique, rare, and visually striking. A 2008 dime with a clear error and in excellent condition can attract serious attention at auctions. These coins are not just currency, they are pieces of history, art, and craftsmanship all rolled into one. So how do you check if you have one of these valuable coins? Start by examining your dimes carefully. Look at the date, the mint mark, and the overall appearance. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera to zoom in on details. Pay attention to anything that looks unusual, doubling, missing elements, strange lines, or misalignment. Don't clean the coin. This is very important. Cleaning can actually reduce the value significantly because collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they have minor toning or discoloration. If you think you found something special, consider having it evaluated by a professional coin grading service. They can authenticate the coin, assign it a grade, and help determine its true market value. Now let's talk about why coins like this continue to capture attention. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of finding something rare in the most unexpected places. The idea that a simple dime could be worth far more than 10 cents adds a layer of excitement to everyday life. Every coin has a journey. It passes through countless hands, travels across cities and states, and sometimes carries hidden secrets that only a careful observer can uncover, and that's exactly what makes the 2008 Roosevelt Dime so intriguing. It reminds us that even in a world of digital payments and modern technology, small physical objects can still hold mystery and value. Before you dismiss your spare change, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking dime might just be an extraordinary find waiting to be discovered. And now, as promised, let's talk about real market value and auction prices. A regular 2008 Roosevelt dime in circulated condition is worth 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can range from $1 to $5 depending on quality. High-grade examples can sell for $20 to $50. Error coins, depending on the type and visibility of the error, can sell for $100 to $500. Rare high-grade error examples have reached auction values of over $1,000. So keep your eyes open, check your coins carefully, and who knows, your next great discovery might already be in your pocket.